Okay, do we have Karen Blevins here? Okay. There you go. And how about Roger Schwantner? Roger Schwantner? He left. So, there's, okay, so you want to pick someone else? There we go. We got a winner. There you go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, thank you.
Okay, we're going to turn it over to the Procurement Department right now.
Good afternoon. All right. My name is Greg Spoon, and I'm very proud and pleased to be the Vice President of Procurement for DFW Airport. I've been with the airport 2 years now, and for those of you who work here as concessionaires today, you know this is a great and dynamic environment to work in. For those of you who don't, without a doubt, it has been, for me, a very dynamic and enjoyable time. I get to work with some of the greatest people in this organization, and I mean that sincerely. The concessions group are very focused on customer service. When Zanola's up here talking about the passengers and the availability of food and retail goods and services, she walks that walk and talks that talk every day along with her team, and very pleased to be here today. Briefly, Ron Duncan, who's our contracting manager, and I are going to speak briefly about procurement and kind of our role and how procurement fits into the RFP process, as well as supporting concessions. Let's see here, I'll make this thing work. Okay. With regards to our focus, procurement is we're the purchasing and contracting arm for the operations side of the airport. And what that means is we're focused on purchase of goods and services. We have a counterpart called Airport Development and Engineering, which is Perfecta Solis's group. And what I like to refer to as their group does the bricks and mortar. So they build it and you guys come. So with that, I want to talk a little bit about our procurement processes. We are a government entity. We're required to use certain government procurement processes. The RFP process is one of those. We use that process pretty frequently when we're looking at services such as concessions and other services, operation services to the airport. We also do a lot of straight bids for goods, which are basically lowest price, qualified, responsive bid. So, you know, we're obligated to make sure that we follow those statutory requirements, also those established under board policy. And Ron does a great job making sure that we do that part to protect the airport and the airport's interest. The other thing briefly to talk about is our contracting practice, our purchasing team. In fact, we've got a couple of our folks here today, Rochelle Ragus and Bill Ellis. Would you guys stand real quick? And both Bill and Rochelle work very diligently with the concessions group, specific for bids and RFPs with that group. We take a lot of pride in what we do in providing a level of service to our customer. Concessionaires, concessions is obviously one of our biggest customers. This past year, we were able to achieve the National Purchasing Institute's Procurement Achievement of Excellence Award. And what that means is that we meet a certain level of automation, a certain level of education, certification for procurement in government and in private sector. So we bring a lot of years of experience and a lot of quality to the organization. The other thing is that we talk a little bit about the cost of doing business in the airport and what all is involved in not only what it costs you to build out a concession and to run and operate a concession, but the infrastructure and the supporting services and operation it takes to provide within an airport, within a secure environment. And I've asked Ron to speak to that and give you a little bit of insight into what all that covers. Ron?
Welcome. Thank you very much for coming out here. One of the things I want to go over is there are a lot of services that the board has contracted for that have a direct benefit to the concessionaires. Some of them are pretty obvious. Concessions mystery shopper. Obviously, we're looking for a company that goes and checks and makes sure that our concessionaires are meeting the requirements of their contract for their services, and making sure that they're pricing the way they're supposed to be pricing, and they're providing the services they're supposed to be providing, and the quality standards that are established under their concessions contract. We've got other types of contracts, such as utilities, electric and natural gas. And one of the benefits of procurement being involved with this process is that we can aggregate the spend of all the electricity use at DFW Airport. So when I am negotiating or working a bid with a utility provider and I'm offering them a $50 million 2-year contract, they typically give me the very best pricing they possibly can. And by us getting the very best pricing from them, we're able to pass that savings along to the rents, fees, and charges that are not only benefit the concessionaires, but also benefits the tenant airlines. And that's the key thing that we're looking for. We work with the concessions department to make sure that we have specifications that provide you great service. We work with our with our business diversity and development department to make sure that we have MWBE opportunities outlined and goals established so that they can participate in our contracts. And we also work with the vendor community, just like the concessionaires are coming out and reaching out to you to be part of a tenant, as a tenant and a concessionaire with DFW Airport. We reach out to the private sector to get involved with the many services that we require. The Procurement Department has over 425 contracts that we manage and administer. So these are just a few of the ones that we do, and these are some of the obvious direct services that we provide. And again, we have some very specific ones that are for concessionaires. For example, vent hood cleaning, grease interceptor maintenance. It is a lot better for us to go out and aggregate the spend of all those concessionaires that use that service under one contract and get a very competitive price than for each concessionaire to go out and do that individually. And that benefit, again, flows down to you. Now, Greg's going to talk a little bit more about the indirect services.